Okay, me and Enoch have been building this worm box. We took out the old worm box. All the castings are way down there. Just past those steps. And then Enoch is putting the poles in right now. So this will be a continuous flow through worm bin. Today I'm putting the blade in. Okay, this is the blade. And so it's gonna sit in here like this. Just like that, and slide back and forth to cut the bottom off. Then the bottom will fall through. Okay, this is all built and done. And I think it's gonna work. The exciting thing is this is all recycled materials. It didn't cost us a thing. Everything in here we already had. And then I've tested it and it looks like it's working, but I'll just show you real quick how it works. So I come down here and I grab the rod on this side of the steps and I pull it. And it'll be hard to pull once we're cutting the castings, but I'll pull it here all the way. It comes all the way through, and then I push it back. With cardboard, and then now we're putting Okay, we've got the worm bin all done now. Thought I would show it to you. Okay, so this worm bin is completed. I have covered it with about a ½ an inch of just rotten hay. Now the hay is still, like an old cow could still eat this hay, but it's molded, probably make a horse sick. Wouldn't want to feed this to a horse. So we're going to let the bottom of the worm bin dry out. Top will stay wet. Worms want two things like every other animal. They want food and water. And so if we missed the top of this a couple of times a week in the winter, and probably every day in the summer, then the worms will stay in the top 6 inches. Now there will always be one down in the bottom, a few, but the most of them will be up on the top. So if I keep a little bit of mulch on the top to keep it from evaporating out of the top, then the moistest place will be on the top. That'll keep the worms up on the top. So that is the key. Keep putting food in here, and the best food to put in is just the compost that we make. We want to make the thermophilic compost, and then we put it in here and we make it nice and beautiful. And then after it's on there, like we would put 2 or 3 inches on, and then we would just put a mulch on top. So this mulch, there's 2 options. You could rake it back and then put the compost on and then put this back on, or we could just put the compost right on top of this, either way. So that's the end of this worm project. Hopefully you enjoyed watching us construct this and put it together. Thank you very much for being a Patreon member. We have this filled with compost, and we've been cutting it off, and we've been using the compost, and we make an extract out of it to get the microbes outside in our gardens and in here in the greenhouse. So let me explain how it works. We put things to compost on top. Now this right here is thermophilic compost, means a hot compost that we made outside. Once the thermophilic stage was over, meaning it got below 80 degrees and didn't heat up anymore, then we bring it in, we dump it on here, and the worms eat it up. We don't put a lot of weeds in here though. We usually compost them first. So there's a lot of red worms in here, and there's a lot of European night crawlers both in this system. So if we just peel this back here, see, here's the worms. There they are. We can see them in here working this. And this is exactly what we want to do. And the way that we maintain this is we just, see how happy they are? We just mist this every day. When we come out and do a little watering each day, we just run the sprinkler across this a little bit. If you get it too wet, the worms die. If it's too dry, the worms die. You just want to keep it nice and moist. So the reason we have the worms eat it is because it makes the compost more nutritious for the plants. It grows more microbes. We have more of the beneficial bacteria, protozoa, nematodes, fungus, and all the little happy guys. Now, once this is done after a year, the microarthropods will start coming into it. You usually find microarthropods in soil systems, not so much in compost. But they are in here. I've seen them with my microscope. So today we are going to harvest. But we only harvest 1 inch when we cut it this way, and then we'll cut it back that way. So we will take off 2 inches total. So 1 inch will fall out, and then another inch. So these pipes right here, this one, this one, this one, that's all that this is sitting on. So this is not sitting on a floor other than those. So the tension of being wet and just holding together keeps it on there. But when we cut it, the blade comes across. Just start going like this. This is my blade right there. It's purple right there. And so right here, that's going to get loose and it's going to start falling. If we banged on that, it would fall a little bit better. It should smell really sweet like a forest floor.
Let me smell.
Or it should have no odor at all.
Oh yeah, you can see it further back in there.
And if we hit this now, just a little. Hey, see, there's the blade going right now. And it's falling out.
There we go.
How a worm feels.
It's kind of dark.
Did that help?
Okay,
Is the light
that's
doing
sort of.
anything?
I think it's working now. Yeah. can't see if... Yeah. Yeah, it's okay.
Oh, it's true. It's not a.
We have this board on here, and the board is against the worm bin, right there. And then that's where we hook the winch so that it has tension. Because we can't just put a winch out there floating in the air. That's not going to do anything. You have to hook it to something.
Right?
This is just a regular winch like on a trailer, like you load up a boat at the lake. And then I just welded a bracket on it that goes around it just goes around this big board here. And then we have guys like Tim who have muscles to turn this. So you could get an electric one if you didn't want to work so hard. You could buy it in a commercial unit. You could make it out of steel. Okay, trade off.
It's kind of amazing how dense and beautiful it is. You're almost to the end now.
No, that's fine.
They've got what? Like 12 inches? Yeah. I would say you might actually be at the end.
There it is. So there's the blade. So the blade's just a 2-inch piece of flat steel, and I just sharpened it on both sides. Do the winch, and we'll take it to the other side, and we'll pull it back. So now, as we pull it back, this will settle straight down. That'll be a good thing.
And it'll be back in its neutral position.
Yeah, and then it'll just stay there. Oh, you got it out all the way. Oh, I'm a genius. We gotta.
That's right.
Let's go this way.
So the other side, the blade's pulling the other way now, right?
Yeah, you guys keep going. Trade off so nobody gets tired. Let's make this together.
Okay, I can see the movement.
So here's our blade right here. It's right here. So it's already 3 feet up and it's working.
And I can hear, it's a kind of a thud sound. You can hear the stuff falling down there. Almost sounds like horses running from a white.
Well, the reason is because it's hitting a plywood in the bag. I have a plywood on that side that comes halfway, and so it sounds like a drum.
Yeah.
As they're doing that, this steel rod right here, it just goes back in, and then it lives there. So this is what our 17-week class looks like. It's super fun. We work for 2/3 of the day, and 1/3 of the day we're in the house looking at the computer doing classes. These guys have memorized all kinds of stuff. If you need to know the function of a nematode or a protozoa or all that stuff, these guys know the answers. These guys are the next generation of very, very successful producers. Jesse had a turn.
Nope.
Quit being sexist. Let the girl do the hard work.
Okay, how do I do this?
You crank it. Nope, you just crank it.
And if you need to let go slow because it will have about 2 inches of tension, and that handle wants to pop back, but it's not dangerous.
You're doing great.
Other than it could break your arm.
Well, I'm cutting off an inch, but more than an inch is falling out.
Yes.
So, but it's good. It's great, you know. We have room. We have room now to put this other compost that's outside onto here. So here we are. We've got it cut off. And see how great this is now.
That's beautiful.
And yeah, there's a lot of worms.
A lot of worms in there.
No, if I was selling just the compost, I wouldn't want to sell my worms. There's the last little bit.
You're not kidding about millions of worms in here. I mean, this is incredible, the number of worms falling out of here. And when you were clearing that earlier, they're just, it's chock full of them.
So here's my blade, and I don't want them to rip that out, so I'm going to say, stop! Okay, that's the end.
Good work, you guys.
So that's how we cut it off. So these guys have been here for 10 weeks, maybe plus. And we haven't cut this off yet.
You're awesome.
So today was the first day for him cutting it off, which is pretty great.
You guys are heroes. Thank you. All right.
Okay, so that's how we cut it off. And that's super easy and simple. Now we simply take a shovel, we fill up 5-gallon buckets with this stuff, and we take it out, we make the extract, and we put that out on the gardens and the land.